Hey, welcome everyone. You're here. I'm glad you're here. There's um, something heavy in the air today. It's that feeling when you're sitting at your desk, maybe staring at a screen, and suddenly the room feels too small. Or that moment when you're walking home and the silence of the street starts to match the silence inside your head. You know that feeling? It's like a realization is trying to break through, but you're not sure if you're ready to hear it yet. Welcome back. It's Anna. And tonight or today, whenever you found this, I want to talk about the things we carry in the dark, the things we've been told to keep quiet about. This feels important, really important. I've titled this Brutal News because sometimes the truth about our own lives, our own patterns, feels a bit like a collision. It's not about some external event or something falling from the sky. It's about that brutal honesty we finally face when we stop running. And that part about not saying anything to anyone, please keep this secret, it's because some realizations are so fragile, so raw, that if you share them too soon, they vanish. They need to sit in the soil of your own heart for a while before the world gets to touch them. Um, I want to start by asking you, and maybe you can share this with me in the comments if it feels right. Um, when was the last time you felt like you were holding a secret from yourself? It's possible that lately things have felt fractured. You might notice a certain tension when you check your phone. Maybe there's a specific conversation you've been avoiding, or a text message you've reread 5 times, trying to find a meaning that isn't there. It can feel like you're waiting for a signal for someone else to give you permission to feel what you're already feeling. But here's the thing. Let's pause for a moment. In some situations, we stay silent because we're afraid that speaking will make the reality too real. We hold on to these secrets, these inner truths, because we think it protects us. But um, I feel like that silence is starting to cost you something. It's starting to feel like a weight in your chest, a restlessness in your hands when you're trying to relax. Have you noticed how your body reacts when you're not being honest with yourself? That tightness in the shoulders, that shallow breath? This reflection invites you to consider what happens if you stop waiting. We often think the news we're waiting for is going to come from someone else. We think a secret will be revealed by a person, a job, a circumstance. But the most brutal news is often the realization that the power has been in your hands the entire time. And that can be terrifying. It's much easier to be a passenger, isn't it? It's much easier to feel like life is happening to us. Hold on, let me slow down for a second. Um, I'm looking at the energy of this secret you're holding. For some people, this might be about a relationship where the silence has become a third person in the room. You're sitting across from someone, maybe having dinner, hearing the clink of the silverware, and you realize you aren't really there. You're blocks away, thinking about what isn't being said. It's a quiet tension. It's not a loud fight, it's just a fading. If that resonates with you, how does that feel in your body right now? I'm not here to tell you what to do. You remain in control of your choices, always. But I want to hold up a mirror. It's possible that the brutal news you've been avoiding is simply the fact that you've outgrown a certain version of yourself and you're trying to squeeze back into that old skin, but it's tearing at the seams. Let's sit with this for a moment. I remember once I was rereading an old journal and I realized I had been writing the same complaint for 3 years, the same secret fear. And the brutality of that moment wasn't that things were bad, it was that I was the one keeping them that way by refusing to acknowledge them. You might be experiencing a shift in your work routine or a shift in how you spend your evenings. Maybe you're finding that the things that used to distract you, the scrolling, the noise, they aren't working anymore. The silence is getting louder. This isn't a sign that things are falling apart. It's a sign that you are becoming more aware. Awareness is a heavy gift. Some people experience this as a sudden urge to clear things out, to delete the messages, to clean the desk, to walk away from the noise. It's a reclamation. I want to ask you another question for the comments. What is one thing you've been keeping secret from your own heart because you're afraid of the change it might bring is less than Heshone? Zero hash is greater than trust your inner knowing here. Take what resonates and leave the rest. If this doesn't feel like your story, that's okay. But if your heart skipped a beat when I mentioned that quiet tension, pay attention to that. I want to talk about the please keep this secret aspect again. Sometimes we are told either by people around us or by society that we shouldn't disrupt the peace. Don't say anything. Keep it to yourself. Just get through the day. But whose peace are you protecting? Is it yours? Or is it the comfort of people who benefit from your silence? In some situations, keeping the secret is actually an act of self-betrayal. And that's the brutal part. Realizing that by being nice or quiet, you've been abandoning your own needs. Let's pause. I feel like someone watching this is right on the edge of a major personal realization. It might feel like a work decision that's been brewing or a realization about a family dynamic. It's that moment where you stop saying, maybe it'll get better on its own, and you start saying, I am the one who has to change this. It's a lonely moment, but it's also the moment where you get your life back. You may notice that as you think about this, there's a sense of relief mixed with the fear, like a fever breaking. It's okay to feel both. It's okay to be scared of the truth while also being desperate for it. I want to invite you to consider a metaphor. Imagine you're carrying a heavy, locked box. You've been told the box is full of something dangerous, so you keep it hidden. You never open it. You walk through your life with one hand always gripping that handle. It tires you out. It changes the way you walk. It changes the way you interact with others. But one day, the lock breaks, and you look inside, and instead of a monster or brutal news, you find just a mirror, or maybe just a map. Something that was never meant to be a secret, but a guide. What if the thing you're most afraid of saying out loud is actually the key to your freedom? Think about that for a second. I'm not sure why, but this feels important to say. You don't owe anyone your unhappiness. You don't owe anyone a version of yourself that is smaller, quieter, or less honest than who you actually are. Let's look at the brutal side of this again, because I don't want to sugarcoat it. Growth is uncomfortable. Acknowledging that a situation isn't working is painful. It involves grief. You might have to grieve the dream of how things were supposed to be. You might have to reread those texts and finally admit that the person on the other end isn't hearing you. That's hard. It's really hard. But there is so much power in that admission. Because once you admit it, you stop wasting your breath. You stop pouring your energy, if we want to call it that, into a vessel that has a hole in the bottom. You begin to save yourself for yourself. Let's take a deep breath together. I'm curious, when you think about the word freedom, what is the first grounded, real-life image that pops into your head? Is it a key? Is it a wide open road? Is it just your own bed where you can finally sleep without a racing heart? Let me know in the comments. I love reading how these metaphors land for you. We're moving into a space now of grounded empowerment. You've faced the tension. You've acknowledged the secret. Now what? You don't have to do anything radical today. You don't have to make a big announcement. This isn't about drama. This is about internal alignment. It's about that moment when you're sitting at your desk and instead of feeling overwhelmed, you feel certain. Not certain about what will happen next, but certain about who you are. It's possible that in the coming days, you'll find yourself speaking more clearly. You might notice you're less likely to apologize for having an opinion. You might find that you're setting boundaries not with anger, but with a calm, quiet no. That is the result of keeping this secret no longer a secret from yourself. I want to remind you that you remain the narrator of your own story. No one else gets to hold the pen. People can suggest plots, they can try to write dialogue for you, but you're the one who decides what stays on the page. Trust your inner knowing. If something feels off, it probably is. If something feels like a relief, follow that feeling. Relief is one of the most honest emotions we have. It doesn't lie. Let's pause. I feel like some of you are worried about the consequences of being honest. You think, if I stop keeping this secret, everything will change. And you might be right. Things might change. But consider this, they are already changing. You're just the last one to acknowledge it. By acknowledging it, you're not causing the change. You're finally catching up to it. You're finally standing on solid ground instead of trying to tread water in a storm. You are stronger than the news you're afraid of. You are deeper than the secrets you've been told to keep. I'm going to start wrapping this up, but I want to leave you with a thought. This reflection was called Brutal News, but maybe by the time you finish this video, it feels more like beautiful news. The news that you are free, the news that you are capable, the news that the secret you were so afraid of was actually just your own soul asking to be heard. Take a moment today to just be. Maybe go for a walk. Maybe sit in the silence for 5 minutes without checking your phone. Just notice what comes up when you aren't trying to hide from yourself. Thank you for being here with me. Thank you for trusting this space. Remember to take what resonates and leave what doesn't. You are the authority in your own life. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. What is one small, grounded step you can take today to honor your own truth? Just one small thing. I'll be reading. I'll be here. Stay grounded. Stay true. And most importantly, trust yourself. I'll talk to you soon. Goodbye for now. I don't sell futures. I build architects. Not predictions, just the naked truth for the hard ones. Stay magic. Stay in the now.